Hello everyone, today I'm going to review the Fujifilm lens that I heavily used with my Fujifilm XT5 and I think it is a great pair for this camera. The XF 16-50mm f2.8 to f4.8 LMWR lens. I loved the initial 18-55mm kit lens, but my copy didn't have the best image quality. I think it is a quality control problem on that lens. Some people say it is very good, mine was soft compared to this XF 16-50mm lens I am reviewing today. Also, people keep comparing these lenses. I don't think this is the successor of the 18-55, it is just another kit lens. You know that Fujifilm had more than one kit lens, including an XC 16-50. This new 16-50 could be the successor to that. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. Anyways, I am glad Fujifilm released this lens because I wanted a compact lens for my travels. I also don't need or use f2.8 that much on Fujifilm cameras. If I want to shoot in low light, I use f1.4 primes, and during the day f5.6 is the way. This lens, like all Fujifilm lenses, is well built in my opinion. I love the fact that this lens doesn't extend when you zoom. This makes it feel even more compact and helps with its weather sealing. Yes, this lens is weather sealed. It has a rubber gasket on the metal mount and I used it in light rain with the XT5 in the north of Spain multiple times and had no problems. Some of you know how much it rains in Asturias. The focus ring turns smoothly, the same with the zoom ring. The one ring I wanted to be more damped, but it is still good enough, is the aperture ring. Gladly, the clicks are nice. I know some of you wanted OIS on this lens, but it seems Fujifilm made it for the newer cameras. The lack of OIS adds to the compactness of this lens and amazing weight. I always have this lens with me and it is great for street travel and landscape photography. Finally, Fujifilm made a good lens hood. The one on the 33mm f1.4 was terrible. The one on this lens is finally good. Now let's talk about the favorite topic when it comes to Fujifilm lenses and cameras, and that is autofocus. When it comes to photography, this baby is lightning fast, just look at it going. Faster than my 33mm f1.4 and other lenses I no longer use and should sell. When it comes to video, again, with the new firmware update for the Fujifilm XT5, this lens is the best I used, better than my 33mm f1.4 and any lens I used so far. Is it perfect? No, but we all know that is a camera problem, not a lens problem. Depending on your settings and what you want from video AF, this lens should give you one of the best experiences on your Fujifilm camera. And don't forget to update the firmware of the camera. I know I tested the lens on the latest generation and many of you don't have the newest camera and in my opinion shouldn't. So let me show you how the AF performs on the previous generation on my XE4. I hope this helps. Now let me tell you why this lens is so good for video. You can use it with small gimbals without any pain of rebalancing. Why? Because the lens doesn't extend. Small gimbals are great in my opinion. Lightweight, but they cannot handle even small changes in weight. Now with this lens I can finally use a small gimbal and don't break my back with tons of stuff after me when I travel or hike. But there is something that keeps this lens from being great when it comes to video. And please Fujifilm, if you watch this video, fix this in a firmware update. When you zoom in or out with this lens, even if you use manual settings, so nothing is on auto, the exposure changes as you can see here. After you reach your desired focal, it readjusts. And it isn't my copy of the lens. One of my friends has the same lens and same problem, and my camera is up to date. Now, some people ignore this in their videos about this lens. This lens is wider than 16mm. Some of you know this happened before with Fujifilm lenses. If you compare the 16mm f2 to the 16mm f1.4 primes, they are different focals. It was quite a discussed topic a few years ago. So this lens is wider in my opinion than 16mm, and I really love that about it. Why I love this about the lens? Well, at 50mm you can crop and get closer to the subject, but at the wider end you cannot add extra details, and taking a step back is not always good for composition. Chromatic aberrations. You can see some if you shoot subjects with contrasty edges, but overall in my photos I rarely see any. The thing I like about this lens, and it is an advantage over the 18-55, is that you can get closer with the lens at all focal points, and the image quality is good at the wider end, starting with f2.8, great at f4. At the telephoto end you need to stop down to f5.6 for good image quality. This is not helpful just for photography, but for video as well. Flares are very well controlled on this lens and they don't lower contrast. I wish this lens had no focus breathing just like the 18-55, but sadly it has a bit. It is not bad, but it is there. Vignetting is very well controlled if you keep the lens correction on. You know I love sun stars, and this lens delivers, as you can see here, from f8. Now let's talk about image quality. This lens is sharp, even in the corners, that is in the real world and not if you photograph a brick wall. The center at 15mm, joke intended, is sharp with great contrast starting with f2.8. The mid-frame looks great as well. Yes, the corners are a bit softer than the center, but not by much. Wide open. If you stop the lens down to f4 or f5.6 at the widest angle, you will get great results on a 40-megapixel camera for street and travel photography. If you zoom in to 23, 28 or 35, the image is even sharper in my opinion. Again, it is sharp wide open, but if you stop down to f5.6, you will get amazing results. The contrast is great and I love the colors you get with this lens. Zoom in to 50mm and the lens is sharp from corner to corner. The contrast is slightly lower, wide open, but if you stop down to f5.6, it gets better. I use this lens for professional work for months now and I'm really happy with it. Compact and super lightweight, great for travel, hiking and not getting unwanted attention. Also great for street photography. The AF is super fast and I never missed an important photo with it, as I said, so far the best I've seen on a Fujifilm lens. The image quality is great on 40-megapixel cameras, great contrast and impressive center sharpness that really shows the advantage these sensors offer. The price second-hand is really good. I paid 470 euros including transport and the lens still has warranty. I think if you don't get it as a kit, this is the way to buy this lens, and not new. The lack of OIS is not a problem for me because my camera has IBIS and I prefer the internal zoom and compactness over OIS. Overall, a great zoom lens from Fujifilm that I'm going to use for professional work for a long time. So I highly recommend this lens for 40-megapixel cameras. If this video was helpful, like, subscribe and use the links in the description to support the channel even more, at no extra cost to you. Also, check out my presets packs on my website. Thank you for watching, see you next time.